Master Yoda is perhaps one of the wisest Jedi Masters to have assumed the title of Grand Master throughout the course of Star Wars. With 900 years of life experience to draw from, Yoda has been present for some of the most pivotal moments throughout galactic history. As a noble warrior of the High Republic era, respected general of the Republic during the Clone Wars, and refugee from the shadow of the Galactic Empire, Yoda's depth of experience is second to none. In one of his final acts of his lifetime, he took on the training of future Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker, and helped to guide him on his journey toward his mastery of the Force, teaching him what it meant to be a true Jedi, especially during this dawn of a new era where the previous iteration of the Jedi had fallen at the blade of the Sith. Though one of the most often overlooked aspects of Yoda and Luke's relationship was how reluctant Yoda was to take on the teaching of the young Skywalker at first, and how it took consistent persuasion to finally get him to give in and train Luke. The reluctance of Yoda takes on a new meaning, especially after the events of the prequel trilogy were revealed to us, and it was discovered that Yoda and Obi-Wan specifically hid the children away with the intention of training them, specifically though when they were ready in order for them to combat the might of the Empire and the newly formed Sith. So if this was their original intention, then why did Yoda claim that he did not want to train Luke? Why did he change his mind? Well, stick with us, weary travelers of the galaxy, and let's delve into exactly that question today. The primary reason that Yoda claimed that he didn't want to train Luke was that he actually believed that Leia was more suited to be a Jedi Knight than her brother, and he actually would have much rather preferred to train her in the Jedi arts for a few key reasons. He regarded her natural leadership and strength of will as two of her most prominent traits that would help her immensely on her Jedi path, but in her future as a combat leader as well. While Leia would have been tasked with understanding the Force and garnering a promising understanding of the Jedi practices, she also would have been one of the only remaining Jedi Knights, and would have to understand how to lead forces into battle against the Empire. Given her political prowess and natural authority, he believed that she would have been a much more capable leader against Palpatine's forces than Luke, and she held the promise and potential of becoming a stronger Jedi Knight than her brother, who was raised in relative obscurity on Tatooine. Because of this, Luke had not only shown no such inclination, but he also showcased a much more dangerous level of instability and uncertainty as a whole. As his life had been often relegated to Tatooine, his growth into a capable Jedi Knight is widely regarded as one of the most prevalent character transformations in modern cinematic history, as well as was a shock to Yoda how quickly the young Luke progressed. The evolution of Luke Skywalker as a character into a capable Jedi Knight and ultimate Grand Master of a new order is a far cry from his humble beginnings as a lowly farm boy on Tatooine. And Yoda, much like fans of the franchise, was skeptical what he was capable of such a drastic transformation in the first place, and a drastic transformation into one of the most powerful Jedi in the history of the practice. In Master Yoda's mind, he had one last chance to train the galaxy's new hope, seeing as he was waning in health and nearing the end of his life, and Leia was a far safer bet to ensure the future of the galaxy, and he would have much preferred to leave the rebellion in the safe hands of Leia rather than Luke. Not only did she have the natural charisma, leadership, and capability and strength of will to understand what is truly meant to be in being a Jedi, but perhaps most importantly, she was more inclined to understand the responsibility of holding power, and the power of the Jedi without the same risk of falling to the dark side like Luke and Anakin were tempted. One of Yoda's greatest failures was the birth of Darth Vader and the corruption of Anakin Skywalker by Palpatine, giving the young Skywalker access to training that would help him hone his incredible latent power within the Force without adequately teaching him emotional maturity and responsibility. The responsibility that came with harnessing such an incredible source of strength was one of the key aspects in his downfall. And to Yoda, both of the Skywalker twins faced the same challenge, which is why they had to take such care in deciding which of the two they would ultimately train to knighthood. Luke showed not only incredible raw force potential, but the innate ability and tendency to succumb to the very same emotional desires that cost Vader his tie to the light. His loyalty to his friends and willingness to do the right thing is one of Luke's defining character traits, even though they closely mirror the same emotional drive that led Anakin into the hands of the dark side. This emotional blindness and love for others already led one Skywalker to the dark side and resulted in one of the single greatest threats that the modern galaxy had faced, and he had believed that Leia would be far less likely to fall down the same track as her brother was, due to her emotional maturity that Luke seemed to lack. We saw Luke struggle with the allure of the dark side side throughout the course of Return of the Jedi, as we watched him slip closer and closer to ultimately giving in, even though he was ultimately able to restrain himself and plant himself firmly in the light. Training Leia, however, would be far less risky, as she was far more used to emotional tense situations and using logical approaches to solve problems rationally without being blinded by emotional drive, which is exactly what the previous iteration of the Jedi were. Although they had many shortcomings, this is still something that Yoda valued in a young Jedi prospect. Even in the face of Darth Vader in the opening moments of A New Hope, Leia was able to maintain her composure, and though she blasted Vader with witty remarks and sarcastic quips, she didn't allow her emotions or her fear to take over and allow her to lose control of the situation. Leia faced down perhaps one of the single most terrifying threats in galactic history and was able to maintain a cool and culpable head, while Luke's emotional drive pointed him dangerously close to the dark side, as he saw him tap into some of his darker abilities throughout Return of the Jedi. In the opening moments of the 6th entry, we see Luke enter Jabba's palace with an eerie dark side feel to him. We watch him utilize the Force Choke ability, which is notoriously favored by Sith Lords and practitioners of the dark side, not to mention a favorite ability of Vader. We see Luke succumb to his anger in his final duel with Vader, and had it not been for the Emperor's prodding, Luke may very well have fallen into the darkness, all of which Yoda had in some way foreseen. Luke's future as a Jedi was far more volatile in Yoda's eyes, and carried with it far more dire risk of Luke turning and ultimately succumbing to the Sith as well. With time left to train only one Knight of the Jedi Order and to provide the rebellion with one powerful warrior, he much rather would have preferred to take the safer route by training Leia, who he believed was a natural-born leader who was destined to become a far more sound Jedi than Luke had the potential of ever becoming. But now let's briefly talk about why in Yoda's eyes initially, Leia may not have been the right choice, but why ultimately Luke was able to achieve something that Leia likely would not have been. We know one of the defining character moments of Luke Skywalker was his ability to forgive his father and draw his father back to the light side, something that Leia was incapable of even after Anakin's Force Ghost approached her in her chambers, begging for her forgiveness. Luke had actually forgiven Vader for his deeds and wanted his father back, while this is something that Leia, even in her old age, was never able to fully achieve, meaning that while Luke was able to draw Vader back to the light, Leia, in her stance, likely would not have been. It was Luke Skywalker's ability to connect with his father and who Anakin Skywalker was, relating to him on a deep level, that was able to draw him back to the light. And it was this decision that would ultimately cause Vader to kill himself as well as the Emperor in an attempt to save Luke, and in an effort save the last of the Jedi as well. Although on the surface level, it's clear that Yoda may have been correct about Leia being the superior Jedi Knight and superior Jedi prospect, she likely would not have been able to achieve what Luke Skywalker did on the second Death Star. I'm not saying Yoda would have picked the inferior choice in Leia, who has also been stated in Legends continuity to have the same force potential as Luke, and in canon it's even implied that Leia's force potential may even be slightly greater than Luke's. The challenge here though is that Luke Skywalker was the correct Jedi for this new generation, and to usher in a new generation for the Order, an order and generation of understanding of the Jedi, not falling into the old dogmatic practices of the old order, which Leia very well may have fallen into herself. Nonetheless, this is not a video picking which of the two Skywalker twins would be the superior Jedi. This is a video detailing why Yoda wanted to select Leia over Luke. Luckily for Yoda, however, Luke was able to rise to the challenge and grow into one of the most highly renowned Jedi Knights in the history of the Galactic Order, reconstructing a new practice of reviving the Jedi arts for the dawn of a brand new era, a new generation of Jedi. But anyway, my friends, what do you think of this interesting facet of Yoda's character? Do you think Leia would have been a better choice, or do you believe Luke was the better option of the two? What do you think would have happened if Yoda had trained Leia, and how do you think things would have turned out differently? As always, my friends, thank you so much for watching the channel. May the Force be with you, and I'll hopefully see you in the next video.